All right, Zan, this is a follow-up from, I think actually a couple months ago, we talked about the Chinese incoming social credit scores.
Ah, yes, definitely.
People probably clicked away right away, but it actually does involve gaming for all of you guys listening out there.
Very important. China
is
a huge gaming market.
Very, very important. Alongside that, Zan actually showed me articles of Japan doing the same thing when it comes time for limiting gamers with their playing time, correct?
Yes.
And we've actually talked about this a long, long time ago. We have a video on this as well, where China is trying to pass not only a social credit system, which is coming into play. Alongside that, though, some very strict restrictions on minors, that being anyone below the age of 18, and they were heavy restrictions. I unfortunately didn't look up the exact times, but it's like between so-and-so o'clock at night and pretty late on in the morning, you cannot play at all, and it limits, I think, like 1 to 2 hours of gameplay per day, or even more strenuous than that. It's very, very harsh restrictions when it comes time for 18 and under people to actually play video games. Oftentimes, the only time you can actually play for more than a couple of hours in the same day is on like holidays. It was super, super restrictive, and if you guys want those full details, we do have a video on that. But speaking of which, it's now actually a video I was watching about potential precautions and restrictions coming with this Chinese social credit system. Pretty much on a day-to-day basis, what you do over in China affects your social credit score, and that either comes with, if you have a higher credit score, more benefits, and if you have a lower credit score eventually, well, more negative side effects. And in this same video, they actually listed 2 potential sways to your credit score, which again could be also not only China, but also in Japan, one of which was playing too many video games. And second of which I think is very important and very, very likely is cheating in video games will affect your social credit score and the way that people in your community see you.
I can't wait for China's economy to just crash after they're like, you can't cheat in games anymore.
And all of a sudden they realize that they have like the most cheaters in the entire world.
Yeah, right. And then all of a sudden everybody's a criminal or something
But the first
obviously
thing,
not everybody. Huge exaggeration. Yeah.
But
yeah.
Even people from China have to admit, I mean, we've seen it all across forums in every game. China is a region known for cheaters, and you guys would admit it too. And okay, there are other regions as well. North America probably has plenty.
Absolutely.
But China's definitely known. And with that, the first thing that comes to my head is the video game movies out there where like you're walking around and you see people and above their head is like their score that pops up.
It's so good. I'm so glad we don't have like AR glasses
yet.
AR, yeah.
I think that'll
AR
be
being
towards the tail end
reality.
of our lifespan. But I think, I don't know. My first thought is, wow, that's super interesting. And then you have thoughts about
That's one word for it, yeah.
And then you have thoughts about how good it could be, beneficial for the esports and gaming scene, but also how terrifying it is. That what you do in the virtual world affects how people will literally act around you in the real world. It's kind of a scary thing to think about.
Yeah, I definitely think the whole social credit score thing escalates things like a little bit too far. Like, I don't think if you cheat in a video game that should affect your ability to get a flight out of the country or something, right?
True.
The two things should not be connected.
Yeah, if we're talking, that's a very good point. If we're talking real life repercussions, like even besides like not be able to fly, or maybe it comes down to like, oh, you cheated in a video game. Yeah, this dish is going to cost you $6 and it's going to cost someone else $4.
Or like imagine trying to get an apartment, right? Because they do background checks for apartments.
Credit score.
Yeah.
Well, they do. They don't check your actual credit score. You know, in other countries, they check your social credit score. They're like, oh. Saw you cheated.
Oh, I saw you were using some wall hacks. You sure not going to be trying to wall hack in your apartment?
Yeah, because I ain't going to sell you no walls here. That's for sure. Good luck hacking somewhere else.
Yeah.
That, again, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Now, we also talked about in that video, though, there are workarounds. But when it comes time for, we were actually talking about workarounds for the restrictions of gaming times. What oftentimes we've been told by both sources and across all forums is people in the community or residents can actually take other people's identities and log themselves into these games under other people's identities, and therefore you bypass the restrictions. When it comes time for the social credit system, I don't know if that's exactly bypassable. I imagine there are workarounds, but it's probably a bit more restrictive than...
It'll probably be a pain, but I think of any community, the most capable of dodging this issue is definitely the gaming community. Because I'd say we're probably the most
savvy.
the most used to like spending so much time on forums and just finding a solution to an issue. As soon as one person has it figured out, everybody will have it figured out.
But we'll close on this. Imagine the first guy to get caught cheating.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And his social credit score just drops.
Imagine they don't tell people when it goes live. and they just catch everybody in a net, and you're just like,
and all of a sudden, people. But what?
Yeah.
What if it solves the issue? Like, what if people are like,
it's not worth it. Not worth it. I'd rather deal with the cheaters.
Really?
Yeah. 100%. I will take the cheaters over the social credit system any day.
But I don't cheat, so I'm thinking, this could benefit me. You know, it gets rid of cheaters. They all get lower scores. My score gets higher, and I benefit. Does that sounds selfish.
Think about how
take it back.
Think about how it could hurt us, though. China has the largest player base for a lot of games. How much of that player base is there because they can cheat, and how many won't play games or will get banned?
That is
or
a
will
weird
then
argument
drop
to
off.
make for a guy like you, because I've tried to argue the fact that all these games out there need cases, and they need like economies and gambling, because players can gamble, and there are players out there who only play a game because they can gamble. Now you're trying to argue that we need the cheaters because they are also players.
Yeah, see,
your mindset
here's the difference in my arguments there. Okay, so loot boxes, right? We see loot boxes have a very clear negative effect on a lot of people in terms of like their actual life, right? I'm talking about actual life repercussions. I would rather have games not have a system in place that potentially leaves people in bad situations on both sides of the fence, right? I'll be there for the cheaters.
Okay.
I don't want them to suffer bad life stuff because of the video games, like actual life stuff.
This is a valid counter.
Don't want the same for loot boxes.
So you are basically your counter to me is that gambling, yes, they are a player base, but they're negatively impacting their own lives.
Yep.
As opposed to cheating, yes, they're also a player base, but you can cheat in a video game and it's not going to deteriorate your entire life.
I mean, worst case,
that's a fair point.
It makes things a little bit worse for the other person inside a video game, but then it still stays inside the video game.
I was feeling really confident until you brought that point into play. I love how we can just go off onto a tangent. We were talking about Chinese social credit scores, and now we're arguing again. But either way, you guys, of course, you leave your thoughts down below about this. It's going to be a wild, wild time these next 5 to 10 years, no matter where we end up, because this still could be a possibility.
Fascinating times.
Everything we just talked about could also be a possible road this goes down.
Yep.
China, terrifying. I won't even mention it. Tencent, how they're going to deal with this. God knows they'll be behind it somehow.
I'm sure Tencent has been in these meetings. I'm sure they've been in every single meeting being like, okay, so you're saying that you're going to limit the time, but can our games can we get exclusive?
Can we maybe bypass that?
Yeah. Oh, whoa. What if companies what if companies get timed exclusivity for their games, so you can't play some companies' games past a certain time, but you can play Tencent games?
We're getting way too deep. But if there was a company to do that, it would be Tencent.
It would be Tencent.
Because they would pay so and so many hundreds of millions, and all of a sudden between the hours of 11 and 5, you can't play any other video games besides Tencent titles.
The Tencent curfew.
Yo, we just figured this stuff out. Anyway, we're going to keep it going.